Don't say it. Don't say it. Leave it be. Don't say it. 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 All right, it's time. Maresca out. What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and what did I say after the Wolves match? I said if we play like we did against Wolves, we were going to get beat by Man City. What did we do? We played like we have been for the past 6 games, and we got beat by Man City. And it's funny because I'm looking at these two teams, and legitimately they are very similar in how the bad run of form has been. Obviously, City are on a decent run of form recently, but let's look at their match against PSG and see that they are not back. They're not the return to what we were used to seeing from them. They are still very much the score first, waste chances, let the other team back into the match, and then drop points. That's what they do, but that's also what we've been doing over the past set of matches. The only 2 games where we didn't do that was Everton and Ipswich because we didn't score at all. But you look at Fulham, you look at Palace, you look at Bournemouth, all those matches, even Wolves, we score first, we drop off, we let the other team in, and then they go on and get points off of us, except for Wolves because they're just awful. So then we get to this game. And really it was just a matter of, well, who's going to score first and then drop off? Us. That's exactly what we did. Scored first, second minute, and then just let them back into the game. Wasted a couple of good chances that we should have put away. And then the confidence grew. They scored right before halftime. Maresca doesn't make any subs because he's a dumbass, and I'll discuss him first and probably go on a bit of a rant there. But they go on to win it. Super easy. Barely an inconvenience. But this is 7 games in a row of the same old shit from Maresca. No changes. No changes from the board to bring in new players to help us cover some of the numbers that we've lost. No changes from Maresca to fix our system to suit the games better than we have been. It's all the same. Same style, same tactics, same setup, and same result, except for one. It's awful. And I'm done. I'm at the point now where, yeah, I kind of want Maresca out. I said after the Wolves match, if we didn't win that game, it would have been very close. It's not like the win suddenly changed my mind about how he's been performing as a manager. He's still been awful, and today, 100%, this result is on him. 100%. Yes, the players have to go out there and perform, but he's got to make the right decisions as a manager. He's got to put the right players out there. He's got to make sure that we are tactically set up well to handle it. Both of the goals that were scored in the second half, entirely on him. Oh, but Sanchez made a mistake, blah, blah, blah. How did the goals start? Long ball from Henderson. What did we change shortly before those goals went in? Jackson off and Cuckoo on. Guess what was happening after that point? Henderson take a touch, pick his head up, ping a ball over the top, and then they're on goal. They have a dangerous chance. It happened once before Holland scored. Pinged ball over the top, easy in behind, no problem, and then they did it again, and then they did it again, and then they did it again, and they got 2 goals out of it and won the match. There's no reason Jackson should be coming off in this match. The only way we had back into it was our high press was causing some trouble in their back line, because their back line is not good right now. Without Diaz, Akanji's okay, but Gvardiol is very susceptible defensively. Nunez is not a defender. We should have been putting pressure on this back line. What does he do? Takes off the striker that puts a lot of high press on and puts on a striker that has no press in his game whatsoever. And what happened? Their keeper, who we know can ping long balls brilliantly, he suddenly has no pressure on him because Jackson's off the pitch, and Nkuku's putting pressure on the midfielder that doesn't even touch the ball. I don't know what he's doing, but he's not involved in the press at all. Suddenly, Henderson just pick passes, no problem, and we concede 2 goals from it. So that is entirely on Maresca. The other thing that's on Maresca, who was probably our worst player in the first half, Madueke. What did he do? Scored 1 goal from an easy tap-in from good work from Jackson, and then did nothing. In fact, he did more for Man City because of his lack of tracking defensively, his complete lack of awareness where he was defensively for the goal in the first half, and just did nothing on the ball. He had 1 good chance that he created at the end of the first half. Decent shot. But everything else that he did on the ball, worthless. Defensively, absolutely worthless. And this is where, for Maresca, you've got to look at that and see he might have some decent stuff going forward once in a blue moon. I don't see it enough for all of the praise that he gets. And Neto may be in a bad run of form, but I guarantee you Neto's going to give you more defensively. I guarantee he's going to work back more. He's going to have more about him defensively than Madueke does. But sure, don't make that change. Sure, just leave him out there. Maybe eventually he'll get it right. The guy that sort of just walks around and stands whenever we're not on the ball. The guy who doesn't try whenever we don't have the ball. Sure, maybe eventually. He's lazy.
If it's not a ball to him, if it's not a ball that he gets to pick up and run with and try to take on a defender because that's what he loves to do, it's the only thing he loves to do, every other aspect of his game is non-existent. There's so many examples in the first half. You've got Gvardiol open all the time because Madueke is nowhere near him. The one in particular that I'm thinking of, he runs inside and Madueke just leaves him, and James has no idea because I guess Madueke didn't even bother to tell him, hey, he's coming. And so Gvardiol just pokes in, nicks the ball off, and then flicks it barely wide. And then the goal, he's just standing, keeping people onside, and allows Nunez to get in and have a chance. And guess who scores? Gvardiol. Because guess who didn't track his runner? Madueke. And he stays on the full match. He even subbed off Sancho over Madueke in the second half. So you can blame some of the individuals, and yes, we do need better individuals on the pitch. We do need more quality in goalkeeper. We do need a bit more depth in the midfield because I think we looked a little legged there today. And we probably do need a backup for Jackson that can go out there and do what he does, but also give us some goals occasionally. You can look at that and say we need more depth there, but at the end of the day, Maresca's decisions killed us today. His decision to take Jackson off, put Nkunku on, that led to the 2 goals. That decision alone cost us 2 goals. And then refused to take Madueke off, which of course left us exposed down that right-hand side. There's no defending that. I've given him a lot of grace over the past 6 matches, and I realize that's ridiculous to some people to think, oh, you want your manager sacked after a run of bad matches? Yeah, I do. Because I've seen this run before. I've seen this exact run before when Potter was here. I've seen this exact drop in form. I've seen this exact unwillingness to change tactics, this exact unwillingness to change players who are not affecting the game. I've seen all of this before, and what it led to was us finishing in, 12th place that season? I don't know if we're going to get there because I think we will still at least pick up a couple of points here and there to keep us from dropping too far out, but I don't think we're going to get Europe next season. If we play like this in the Conference League, there's a chance we could get picked off by some random team in the knockout stage. So I'm not even confident about Europe next season anymore. And that's ridiculous to think that just 6 games ago, I was feeling confident that top 4 was a sure thing and winning the Conference League was a sure thing. Now, I don't even know if we finish top 8. I don't even know if we win the Conference League because Maresca is just completely devoid of ideas. The transfer board is not willing to make any true moves for who we need right now. They're going after freaking Garnacho for some reason because, yeah, we need more wings, right? Of course. Don't go get what we need. Go get what looks good, right? And I don't even know how that looks good, to be honest. I don't even know how that's a good signing to make because Garnacho does not come with a super high rating. You know, he's been very highly regarded for the past couple seasons, but this season he's not been as good, and he's also got an attitude problem about him. So I don't even know how that's considered a good signing. But the fact of the matter is, we need a striker, we need a better keeper. I realize you're not going to get a starting keeper in January, so maybe that's not as much of a necessity, but you definitely need to improve in the midfield and up top. And instead we're going for wings. Don't ask me why. When you've got Neto, Sancho, Madueke, and George all fully available, Madueke and George, I don't think Madueke is that good. George is still too young, maybe not quite ready. But you can also slide Felix out there. You can slide Palmer out there. You've got plenty of options on the wing. You do not need to be going and getting another wing. And yet here we are. We're going after another wing. We're ignoring trying to get in anybody that can improve what we have right now. So moving on from that, though, going into individuals, first of all, for Sanchez, I still defend him for his passing because, again, we have another match where we know the team is going to put high press on us and we still go back to him unnecessarily for some reason. But yeah, he's definitely making more mistakes keeping-wise, and it's not too surprising. I mean, he's not a top-quality goalkeeper. He's made some really good saves in the past, for sure, but I don't rely on him consistently. I don't think he's a good, consistent keeper. He's going to have these gaffes in his game because he's not at a high level. And that's where the board has done us really dirty because we don't have any better options than him at the club right now. Honestly, I would say even on the books, Petrovic maybe, but Jorgensen's not as good. We saw that against Morecambe. Kepa is a joke. I don't even know why we haven't sold him officially yet. And then past that, we have a bunch of young keepers, but we don't have anybody that's going to be challenging Sanchez for his spot. Again, maybe Petrovic, maybe bring him back from his loan and try to get him back into the team. I honestly don't even know why we loaned him out to begin with, but that's just where we are. That's the reality of it. Sanchez right now is our only viable option to play in the Premier League because Jorgensen's not ready. All the other keepers are young or on loan. And I realize some Chelsea fans are still going to complain about him regardless. I'm being realistic about it. He is the best keeper we have at the club at the moment. And that's kind of the sad thing about it, is we really hamstrung ourselves with our transfer decisions in the summer. James on the right side, didn't see much from him today. Defensively, not great. The new guy, Mamouche, or whatever his name is, he was really giving him trouble with his pace, and it just didn't feel like he was reading the game that well. Also didn't feel like he was connected with Madueke hardly at all, defensively or on the attack. There was no connection there. He had no idea what was behind him whenever Gvardiol ran past Madueke multiple times. So it just felt like there was an absolute disconnect on that right-hand side. And as the captain, I expect him to be more connected. I expect him to be the one making that connection, talking to him. We saw him talking at halftime. I guess they didn't have as much joy down our right-hand side, so maybe that did work. But I personally saw it as because they were going down the middle a lot more and just going over the top more often than not. Yeah, on the ball, though, is where I expect James to be quality, and I just didn't see a whole lot from him today. I mean, I know he's not getting into the spaces he was as a wingback, so he's not delivering those quality balls that we're used to seeing. But the couple of times he did get into a good attacking space, his passing wasn't phenomenal. It was comfortable enough, not the level that we've seen from him before. For Chalobah, a couple of mistakes tonight that led to the goals. First one-on-one with Haaland, and he slips as well when Haaland cuts it back. And then the second one, he gets drawn into Haaland and leaves Foden wide open running behind him. So a couple of mistakes there, but he's still kind of growing into the team. The Wolves game I thought was a bit easier on him, so he didn't have to be as focused, I suppose. This was a lot tougher of a game, and I thought he handled himself well in the first half, but second half, I don't know if it was the focus that left him or just he did take a knock, so maybe that had to do with some of it, but he definitely made a couple of mistakes there that led to the 2 goals as well. It's unfortunate, but that's kind of what you expect whenever you bring a defender back and try to throw him into a new system. I mean, we saw from the young kid that Pep threw in tonight, it's going to happen whenever you've got a defender stepping into a new system, a new coach. Colwill didn't have too much of a problem with him in the first half. Second half, a little drawn out of position. I know we were, as a defense, keeping a higher line, so some of that I think was on Maresca for having us play that way, but there were a couple times where he was just in no man's land. I mean, the one over the top that Chalobah was one-on-one with Haaland, there's no reason why Chalobah should be one-on-one with Haaland there. I mean, Colwill should be close enough to help out, and he was just nowhere to be found. And then obviously on the second one, he gets bullied by Haaland, doesn't even really get in a good challenge for him. So it was too easy to play past him sometimes. Cucurella was okay. Defensively, I thought he was fine, but going forward is where I typically expect him to be a bit more involved, a bit more, not clinical, because he's a defender, so you don't always expect him to finish. But there were just a couple of moments whenever he did get on the ball that I've seen him play better balls. I've seen him have a couple better shots. Today, whenever he got into those dangerous positions, it felt like his boots were just not on. Maybe he put on the ones that he slipped against Tottenham. But overall, he probably was one of our better players today, and that's kind of sad considering I don't even think he had that great of a game. But into the midfield, I think it showed that we have just a lack of depth there. Caicedo and Fernandez. Fernandez has come back from injury. Caicedo has to play every game, and they both looked a little leggy. Man City's midfield is not the most pacey, doesn't have the most endurance, and yet they still felt like they were running over him. Caicedo, for the most part, did okay, but as the game wore on, kind of lost his influence in there. And Fernandez, I feel like this was one of his least influential games on the ball. I don't remember him really doing... He had a couple of balls over the top that were fine, but I really don't remember him doing much with it, that especially compared to what I'm used to seeing from him. Madueke on the right, I already talked a bit about him, but yeah, on the ball, didn't really give us much of anything, and then defensively, killed us today. And I don't know why he started after the Wolves performance, because he was terrible, and yet he's still out there, and he's putting in another terrible performance, and cost us the lead in the first half. Don't know what else he has to do to get kicked out of the team, but that's just what you get whenever you have a manager who's too scared to make tough decisions, which is weird to say because I thought he was at the beginning of the season. Maresca seemed like the type of guy that was willing to get in there and make that tough decision. I mean, he's kicked Madueke out of the team twice now, and yet he's still putting him in there whenever he's available. It doesn't make any sense. There's no reason why Madueke should still be playing right now. And the fact that his mistake leads to the goal that ties it up at the end of the first half that gives Man City the momentum to go on and take the game in the second half, The fact that he's the one responsible for it, it just pisses me off to no end. But that was the moment. I mean, from the intro, the "don't say it" about Maresca out, that was the moment that started it for me, because I'm just like, why is he playing today? Why is he actually out there after the Wolves performance? It's crazy. Palmer in the midfield didn't seem on it today. It was not a game where he was marked out of the match. He got the ball plenty of times, didn't do anything with it. His passes seemed a little off, a little overhit. Had the chance in the first half where Chalobah slips him through, and I'm used to just seeing him either slide it in, easy goal, or put it right on the path of whoever's making the run. But he doesn't shoot, and he puts it past Jackson, who now has to run away from the goal to pick up the ball. It's not good enough. For what we're used to seeing from him, that's not good enough. I don't know what was going through his mind today, but there were several mishit passes, several bad touches from him that just did not look like Palmer. And to be fair, he's not had the greatest run of form recently, so there's that fear, I think, in a lot of us that are going, okay, where did the Palmer from last season go? Because we have not seen him for a while. We've seen him in glimpses over the past few matches. The couple of goals that he's gotten, we've seen glimpses of that Palmer, but when you look at the game as a whole, not nearly the effect that he's had. I'm sure the one season wonder people that are out there that at the beginning of the season when he had a couple of bad games here or there, those people are probably just sitting there just pumping their fists and cheering to the heavens that, oh, I was right about Palmer, because it certainly is starting to look that way, which is disappointing. Sancho on the left side, definitely not the influence that we've seen from him before. Defensively, he wasn't really helping us out much either, but to be fair, they were not going down that side as often. He didn't really have to help out defensively as much as Madueke should have, but on the ball is where I expect him to be really effective, and I thought today just didn't provide much for us. And then Jackson up top, this is where, you have to just look at how we were after he came off in the second half. That's why he plays. All the people that want to complain about him, about his missed chances, his bad touches, blah, 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 whatever. You want to complain about him, look at what happens to the team as a whole when he's off the pitch. When you've got somebody like Nkuku up there who doesn't press as much as he does, who doesn't have as much energy and pace as he does. Look what happened. Did we even create anything after he came off the pitch? Because I don't even remember a decent chance that we had after he came off. Because there was no pace up there. And again, Henderson basically assisted. He assisted one and then assisted the assist of the second one because he had no pressure on him anymore, because Jackson was no longer up there putting any pressure. And that is 100% on a Maresca. But for Jackson's sake, it just goes to show why he's important. It shows why he is an important player that you have to have up there. It doesn't matter if he's going to miss chances. He's going to cause enough problems for the defense. He's going to be dangerous enough on the attack, getting on the ball, trying to make things happen, assisting goals. He's going to be doing enough to where we're gonna have moments. We're gonna be in the ascendancy at times. We're not gonna let the defense and the keeper play out super easily, because we're gonna have a striker up there who's gonna be putting the pressure on. So I'm kind of sick of all the Jackson slander. I'm sick of all of the hate, because it reminds me a whole lot of the hate that Werner got when he was here. And then we got rid of him and tried to use Havertz up top, who was not a presser, who was not an energy workhorse type of player, and was not a striker. And we saw what happened whenever Havertz was up there and we didn't have a true striker. We saw what happened that season. And we've kind of gone back to that, where everybody wants to hate on Jackson because he misses chances. But you take that energy away from the front line, teams like Man City just run us over. As soon as he came off, and this is where if I were live streaming these matches and live streaming my reactions, I would have looked like a savant, because I said Man City are about to win this match 3-1 after he came off. That's what happened. That is exactly what happened. But as far as the subs and Nkuku, did he touch the ball? I'll be honest, I kind of stopped watching fully. Like, I had it up on the TV, but I was here on my laptop, like, editing, because I was so not interested in the rest of the match after Jackson came off, and especially after they got the goal. I was kind of done. I'm like, this game's shot. This game is over. Obviously, I don't remember any big highlights for Nkuku, because I feel like I would have looked up after I heard the announcers going crazy. He certainly seemed like a waste of a sub. And then the other two, Neto came on. I feel like he would have been better at 1-1 whenever it was a bit more of an open match. But once City got that goal, it kind of felt like they were content to just kind of pack it in, be defensively stable, solid, and hard to break down, and then just boot it long because they had the time and the opportunity to. So at that point, Neto's strengths were not really utilized, because he's better when he has the pace to run in behind and the space as well. And Gusto came on for James, and that just kind of felt like resting James' legs because he's still prone to injuries. But yeah, so here we are, out of the top 4, out of the top 5, I'm pretty sure at this point, because Bournemouth, they won, and they might be ahead of us on goal difference now because of their big win in our 2-goal deficit today. Man City are ahead of us. Newcastle are ahead of us. What's crazy to me is if we had just done our job over the past 6 matches, this would not be a must-win match. But because of how we've been performing, this was suddenly a must-win match, and we came out and we didn't treat it like a must-win match. We did the same old shit we've been doing over the past 6 matches, and here we are. Another loss, another drop points, and we are out of the top 4 again. We're out of the top 5 now. I don't see any way that we get in the top 4 at this point. We are not going to be good enough or consistent enough with this manager who is too stubborn to change how he's playing, too stubborn to try to fix the problems, and a transfer board that is not going to bring in players we need, but rather players that they want to bring in because they're high profile, maybe can pick up some good sales in a couple of years. They are not interested in trying to make us a competitive winning side. They are interested in making themselves money. And look at what happens. We make a lot of money in the transfer market, and we're not going to win anything. Cool. So Bowley, Egbali, Clear Lakes, Winstanley, Stewart, all those guys get out. Maresca get out. This club needs a total restructure and focus on trying to win, not trying to be profitable, not trying to make money. We need to bring in a quality manager, a world-class manager, not some new guy who has some interesting ideas. And we need to bring in players for that manager, not just bring in players to be sold. So with all that ranting being done, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on the game today? Let me know. We could talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for your Chelsea reviews. Also check out the channel. We have a lot of reviews on here as well as some Let's Plays, so check those out if you have time. But until next time, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you all later. Peace out.